Hey, what is going on, guys? Yes, I'm back again with another video tutorial of a challenge of intermediate algorithm scripting called Everything Be True. So, what is this about? Let's have a look. It says check if the predicate second argument, which is this one, is truthy on all elements of a collection first argument. So this is a collection, alright, and this is the argument. I mean the predicate. Cool. In other words, you're given an array collection of objects. Yep, these are all objects. So the first object, second object, third object, and fourth object. Okay, and the predicate pre, which is this one here. Alright, the predicate pre as a parameter um, will be an object property, and you need to return true if its value is truthy, otherwise return false. In JavaScript, truthy values are values that translate to true when evaluated in a Boolean context. Right. Remember, you can access object properties through either dot notation or bracket notation. Remember to use read, search, and ask if you get stuck. Try to pair program and write your own code. Yeah. Alright, cool. So in this one, we need to check this argument against this collection. So if in these objects the value of this property is true, then we need to return true. If it's false, then we need to return false. Alright, so first of all, we need to find out what are the values that will make this object property false. How we can do that? By checking in these test cases that FreeCodeCamp has already provided us. And so this one's true, false. So what in this is what makes this one false? So sex is on male. Yep. User. Okay. So there is there this object hasn't got a property called sex. All right. This one's for true, makes it true. Okay, so because this one hasn't got the property sex, then it would be eventually null. So null is the first value that makes it false. So we can write down here. So false on null, and what else? In this collection, what makes it false? So is the argument age. Okay, so argument age is 0. Okay, and age is 3, age is 5, and age is 4. So I think 0 makes it false. All right, and then in the second one, what makes it false? This time is the argument called on boat. So what makes on boat false? On boat true, name on boat. I think in null here. Okay, so null we already have it there, and in this one is returning true. That's fine, true and false. What makes this one false? Okay, so an empty string, right? And return false. Yeah, return false. What makes this one false. So single is the argument, as in the property. So single is double, single is undefined. I think it's undefined. Alright, and what makes single false? I think single is nice. NaN, which is not a number. Okay, so these values make whatever's passed as a pre false. Okay, now that we know that, I'm going to show you guys the logic here. So this is going to be our logic. Okay, so first we're going to check all the values that return false, which we already have done here, and then we're going to iterate through the first argument, which is our collection here. Alright, and then check if the second argument pre was not present. Okay, so in this case, any of this returns true. Alright, cool. So this one's done, and then if we find any objects in this collection that does return any of these values here of pre, then we're gonna push that, insert that in the new array which we're gonna create. And then after looping through all the objects in that collection, we're gonna check if the new array that we're gonna create and push the false pre's to is it empty or not. Okay, if it is empty, then we're gonna return true, which means that we haven't got any false value of this argument. Okay, and if it's not, we're gonna return yeah, if we have if the array is empty, then that means that we don't have any false values of the pre, hence we're gonna return true. Otherwise, if we have some invalid, if we have one of these values in any of these objects, then we're gonna return false. Yes. So without further ado, let's get into coding. So I like to make my I like to organize my data structures a bit so I can work with them effectively, and here's how I like to do that. Oops, I can't. Oopsie. Anyway, this is I'll just minimize this shape. So this is how I like to organize my data structures that I'm working with, so it's easy to read, understand, and work with as well. Alright, so if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to do in this way as well. Alright, so first we're gonna create a new array which has all the invalid pre's, I would say. Okay, cool. Now that we have got that, we're gonna iterate through our collections array, which is this one here. Alright, so we're gonna be doing that with the for loop. So for I index starting from 0, and then index is less than collection dot length, and then I plus plus. Okay. Oops, why is it do okay, yeah, my bad. I put an extra less than sign there. Alright, so now we are on this step here. Number 2. Now we need to check if the second argument, which is a pre, was not present. Okay, so how are we gonna do that? So we're gonna check if yeah, these values, any of these values weren't present in any of these objects. Okay, how are we gonna do that? By an if statement. So I'm gonna go in each collection and access the value on it, and then access the pre's value in that as well. Okay, and then I'm going to say I don't want if I've got any of these false values, uh, then I want to push them into the array there. So invalid pre's dot push, and then index, and the whole thing goes into there. Okay, now we are on the first no we are on the fourth step, which is insert the object that didn't have a pre-value into a new array, which is this. Okay, so now we're going to continue and check if this array is empty. How are we going to do that? By accessing the length of it. So we're going to say if invalid pre's dot length equals 0, which means that we don't have any uh, invalid values of pre's, which is one of these, then we're gonna simply return true. Okay, otherwise we're gonna return false. Simple. So we're gonna return false. Yeah, but return false. Perfect. Alright, I'll just test this, and if it passes, which hopefully it will, then I'll explain you guys how this is actually, I mean, give you a brief overview of the explanation again. Cool. So let's see if the test passes here. That's brilliant. Walk on the sunshine. Okay, cool. So again, I created an array here for invalid pre's. So if we find, I mean, we'll loop through every object in this collection, and if you find any invalid value of pre, which is the second argument here, in this example it would be sex, then we would push that into this invalid pre's array. Okay, and then we would check if this array is empty or not. If it is empty, then that means that we haven't got any invalid pre, so we just return true. If it's not empty, then we return false, which means that they are invalid pre's. Okay, so I'll just take an example of invalid pre and demonstrate that as well to you guys, which is, let's take this one. Alright, so this one should return false which means that it should pass as well. There we go, perfect. All right, hope you guys learned a lot from this video and had a bit more practice of accessing arrays with bracket notation as well, or DON notation, wherever you guys prefer. And yeah, this is it for this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which is tomorrow. Until then, have fun coding, guys.